Today we're going to talk about completing the square, alright? So this is basically a way in which you can find the roots of a quadratic equation. So there are kind of like a lot of other ways like factorization or using the formula, but this is a pretty simple way and it can be really useful in a particular type of problems. So let's go right into it. Alright, so this consists of basically three major steps. Number one. Alright, so let me take my equation as x squared minus 6 times x plus, say, 5 equals 0. Alright, so the very first step of completing the square is that you have to make the coefficient of x squared, you have to make the coefficient equals to 1. So it cannot be 2 or 3 or any other random number. So normally when you see such questions, the coefficient is normally 1. But if the teacher decides to give you a trick question or something, never let any other coefficient be present in your equation, alright? So whenever you see your equation, look at the number beside x squared. If it's anything other than 1, then divide the entire equation. Like if my equation is 2x squared plus 4x plus 6 equals to 0, then I'm going to divide my entire equation by 2 on both sides by this number, so that 2 and 2 cancel out and this becomes 1. Obviously 0 times everything is 0, so this is not going to make a difference. So this gives me x squared plus 2x plus 3 equals 0. So whenever there's any number other than 1, divide the entire equation by that number and make the coefficient of x squared equal to 1. Step number 1. Because our coefficient is already 1 over here, so we really don't have to worry about step number 1, but be really careful. Alright, step number 2. Now basically what we're doing in completing the square is that we're making this equation equivalent to a perfect squared. So if we have an equation of x plus a whole squared, this is a perfect square with a as any natural number, or for that matter, maybe rational or integral too. Alright, so x plus a whole squared gives us x squared plus a squared plus 2 times a times x. Alright? So we already have our x squared, right? Boom. X squared, x squared. Now we have a negative of 6 as the coefficient of x over here, and we have a 2a as the coefficient of x over here. So what we do is that we simply compare these two coefficients. So 2a equals negative of 6, and dividing by 2 on both sides, dividing by 2 gives us a equals 3, negative of 3. Alright? So now we have our x squared. Now we have our minus 6 and minus 6, because a equals negative 3. Now the only term which is left is our term of a squared, right? Our term of a squared. Now what is a squared? Negative of 3 whole squared gives us 9. But in our problem, we have only 5 given. So what we do, we're really smart, obviously we're mathematicians. So what we do is that we add a 4 very smartly to both sides. It's not going to change the equation, right? Because you're adding it to both sides. You're adding a 4 over here and a 4 over here. So it's really not going to make a difference. But the main point of doing this is that now 5 plus 4 gives us, boom, it gives us 9. Alright? So now when we write this equation, then it's of the form x minus 3 whole squared equals 4, and 4 equals 2 times 2 equals 2 squared. Because this was the exact form, we got the exact form we wanted above. X squared plus a squared plus 2 times a of x squared, a was 3. Alright? Now we take an under root on both sides, and because we always write plus minus while taking an under root, so we can write x minus 3 is equal to negative of 2 and is equal to positive of 2. Alright? Always take a plus minus while removing the under root. Alright, so then this is a really simple linear equation. We add 3 on both sides, which gives us x equals positive of 1 over here, and which gives us x equals positive of 5 over here. Alright, so just in order, now the great thing about completing the square is that you can always check your answer. Alright, so we have a +1 over here, so let's substitute the value. Obviously it's a root, so it has to satisfy the equation. So let's substitute the value 1 in this equation and see if we've done this correctly or not. So 1 square is 1, minus 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5, and hooray! This equals to 0. If we do it for 5, 5 squared is 25, minus 5 times 6 is 30, plus 5 again equals to 0. So we have done this totally correctly. So whenever you have this in an exam or something, you can always check if your answers are right or not by simply plugging the values of x into the equation and seeing if you've solved it right or not. So basically, we had 3 major steps. Number 1, make sure that the coefficient of x squared equal to 1. Number 2, compare the value of the coefficient of x with the coefficient in the ideal whole squared form, and you get the value of a. Number 3, make the constant term equal to the constant term which was actually required in the equation. Remove the under root, put a plus minus, and boom, you get your 2 values of x. Alright, so it's a really easy way, and once you do a few questions based on it, you'll totally get the hang of it, and then it's really easy to solve questions using this. So if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. I totally love it when you guys give me a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel. And if you want any topics for me to make a video on, like topics you find hard, then please write them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.